What is up, guys? It's Team Woodman's here. Sorry for being a little bit late, but it's been a little.
We ain't late. We right on time with this bad boy. I'm sorry, these bad girls, giant robot. It's nightmare dolls, y'all. Like, I
like giant women, but man, not that kind of giant, bro.
Bro, these women, I ain't finna call them bitches. These women hit hard, kinda. Well, they hit you a lot of times. Let's just jump into this. I'll start off with the grade zeros, just because it goes in order. Your starter is going to be Smiling Presenter. She's really good. If you don't know, she's a fairly old card. Counterblast 1. Search the top 10 cards of your deck. Find a card among them and put it in your soul. This deck is really toolboxy, so you can. It allows you to pick and choose the pieces you need it when you need them, and it works really well. So she's your starter, really good. You can also play Happiness Collector, but she's a GB1 card, so you would be like kind of waiting a bit. She kind of blind soul charger, but she picks and chooses, so she's excellent. If you need any card in particular, so top 10, chances are it'll be there. It's rarely not, since you play 4 copies of all the important stuff. So that's a really good thing. I play 4 draw triggers. In this deck, it's really important that you play this particular draw trigger because she's a Workoroid, which comes into play heavily in this deck. So we play Silver Thorn Marionette. I play 4 Poison Juggler. He has a skill, put him in a soul, gain 3k power. In a pinch, you can't really grab him out of soul, but he's really good to give some extra power to something, for the turn. I'll get into that play in a bit. Play 4 Nightmare Doll Mirabelle. She's a Nightmare Doll. You have to play Nightmare Dolls in this deck. It's a Nightmare Doll deck. She's a really solid. Comes in clutch. She's also a Workoroid. She's a giant doll with scissors. I love her. And of course, 4 heal triggers. As far as I know, Pale Moon don't have a Workoroid heal trigger. So I had these extras laying around, so I just used her. That's it for the grade zeros. You could also place stand triggers in here if you want to unflip damage. I haven't had many issues with Counterblast in this deck, but it's pretty good. Now for the grade 1s, we have first up Nightmare Doll Leslie. She's going to be your #1 choice for a booster in the back row, purely because whenever you call in Alice, she restands. So you don't have to call in Alice in the same column as it. You can call in Alice over here. You have 2 Leslies here. They'll both restand and swing for 14k column, which is it's pretty good. I have 2 Nightmare Doll Juliet. She's another Nightmare Doll. She's a Workoroid. She's really important to have in the deck. Her skill is negligible because usually you have to soul charge in this deck. You have to blindly soul charge anyway. But sometimes you can come in clutch in case you're missing something in the soul, and she can come in. That's why I have her at 2. You could play 3 if you like, but I don't think you need 4 of. She's not that amazing. But she's really good. Again, a Workoroid, which is fantastic. I play 4 Stridefighter Masquerade Bunny. This card is in here at 4 because you have to stride in this deck. You have to stride. It's really imperative that you stride because striding is where you will get the maximum out of your deck. I can go over that play a little bit later as well. And finally, for the grade 1s, we have 4 Perfect Guards. Personally, I like Darkside Mirror Master in this deck. Purely because she can unflip damage for me, so I can get more Alice attacks off. We'll talk about that in a minute. And yeah, she unflips damage, the usual. If you want, you can play the regular one, the old one, or the Silver Thorn one, Hades Hypnotist, or Hypno Silver Thorn, something like that, Lydia. But yeah, I prefer her. The only time I really wish I changed her is when people will swing huge at an Alice and I have to save her. And Alice is the heart of the deck, so sometimes you have to, if someone attacks Alice for 35, you're looking like, well damn, I can't Perfect Guard, she has to go, because you really can't afford to neg yourself that hard in this deck. That's it for the grade 1 lineup. It's pretty standard stuff for this deck, I feel. On to the grade 2s. You have your most important grade 2, Nightmare Doll Jenny. Her skill is whenever she hits the rear guard circle, you can put her in a soul, grab an Alice, and give it 5k power, which is amazing. This is where a lot of your players are going to come from. She works really well with pretty much any card in the deck with Alice herself. With Beatrix, she's amazing. Also play 4 Nightmare Doll Master Brenda. She is probably she's the linchpin of the deck. For the stride turn, I'll talk about that later. I'm talking about a lot later in the video. But yeah, she's the linchpin of the deck. Her skill is you can put her into the soul, take a work away from the soul, bring it to the field, and if that work rate goes back into the soul, you call out Brenda. It's really, really important that you have this piece on the field or in soul. Well, not in soul, because if she comes out from the soul, she loses her act ability, so you can't really spam her. Otherwise, the deck would be extremely broken. I'm mad Bushiroad thought of that, but I'm actually kind of glad they did. And I play Silverthorn Marinette Lillian. She's a 10k vanilla. I mean, she can come in really, really handy. She's a really good stride target for defense. Not stride target, I'm sorry, ride target, grade 2. If you don't have Ginny. Ginny's your primary ride target because she'll be in the soul. But Lillian can come in clutch to hit rear guards on the outside. She's really good. She's also a Workeroid, which is why I play her in this deck. And that's it for grade 2. I'm 11 grade 2s. Pretty standard. You don't really need more than that because you won't be swinging with grade 2s very often. You'll more than likely be swinging with Alice's on the outside. And now let's get to the grade 3 lineup. We have 4 Nightmare Doll Catherine and 4 Nightmare Doll Alice. If you can't tell, the deck is centered around Nightmare Doll Alice. Her skill is, if you don't know, she's a very old card from set 3. I'm really glad she got support. Her skill is whenever her attack hits anything, it could be a Vanguard or a Rear Guard, counterblast 1, put her into the soul, call the card not named Nightmare Doll Alice. Meaning you can put her into the soul, you can call a Ginny. Ginny's skill pops off, and you get another Alice from the soul plus 5k power. Then Leslie restands, so now you have a 23k column outside that can potentially keep swinging. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking that, oh, well, I'll just block the Alice, which is what you would normally do. But Catherine says, oh, you blocked my Alice? That's cute, I'm going to counterblast 1 and get another Alice and keep the circle going. She's like counterblast 1, putting Alice into the soul, calling Alice out of the, calling Alice from the soul, then putting Alice into the soul. So you can't really put it in the same column unless you want to neg yourself one Alice, which I will stress is very, very, very bad. But she's wonderful. Plus, she also gives Alice a permanent plus 1k as long as she's your Vanguard. That's awesome. And also, she has your own ride skill to switch your deck for 1 card, put it in the soul. Any 1 card you need in the soul, she can put it there. You can even put a trigger in the deck if you want to. Why you want to, I have no clue. But she's really a really solid support boss, which sounds weird, but it works extremely well. And also, secret. That's it for the main deck. Now we can get into the
Extra deck.
The extra deck, the stride deck. I play 4. Wow. I play 1 copy of Amanda. She's a pretty solid stride when you don't have a field. But
you like her over Clifford?
Yes, because she puts the unit back into the soul. Clifford doesn't. If you call, let's say you call an Alice from the soul, Clifford leaves her there to be attacked. And yeah, we don't want our Alices dead. We don't want that. So she puts it back in the soul. I prefer over Clifford just for that reason right there. I played 1 copy of Dragon Masquerade Harry. He's a pretty solid one of. He's extremely counterblast heavy, but he can disrupt your opponent's field, and he's pretty good. He's really good. If you don't know, his skill is a GB3, extremely late game card for a deck like this. Counterblast 2. Choose 1 rear guard, put it in the soul, and you can take 2 units of take units from your opponent's field and put them into their soul, and then you can call units out of your soul and keep pressure going on your opponent. And also it's on attack, so you can swing, then swing here, and then you get another 2 attacks. You get 5 attacks off a turn. If Alice hits, you can do Alice shenanigans. If she doesn't hit, well, you can't do shenanigans after she doesn't hit with this. I played 2 Lunatech Dragon. He's a pretty solid finisher. His skill is flip a copy of himself face up. Anytime a card comes out of the soul, he gives that unit 2k power. Works really well with Alice because she can come out swinging for 19, really well with that, as long as she hits, of course. And he has a GB3 skill of gaining a crit when he swings, so that's always a plus. Pretty solid finisher.
Got no PG die.
Got no PG? Yeah, you gotta take damage. It's gonna hurt. And I play 4. You really cannot play less than that. Of Nightmare Doll of the Abyss, Beatrix. Beatrix is your true boss monster. Her skill is at the end of the turn she attacks the Vanguard. You take 3 Workroids, put them in a soul, call 2 Workroids out. It kind of sounds like a neg, but it's actually not. It's really, really good. Nightmare Doll Alice, she needs to counterblast 1 to keep attacking, but with Beatrix, you can get 5 attacks off for no counterblast. It's extremely easy to do with the way the deck is set up. All you need is 2 Alices, 2 Leslies, and a Beatrix, and you go nuts. And counterblast as many as you want from 1 to 5. You're good to go. And also Brenda. Brenda makes that really, 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 really strong. Also, she strides out when she uses her skill. So you're sitting back on Catherine, which means you get Alice's effect of when she misses, calling another Alice out of the soul. So you can bounce Alice's from side to side as long as you have counterblast. It's really good. You can get actually 10 attacks off in 1 turn if you have 5 counterblasts and your opponent. Yeah, 10 attacks off in a turn. It doesn't matter if your opponent blocks it or not. You can just keep it going as long as you have an Alice in the soul. The deck is extremely effective. It's a pretty solid 1-turn KO deck. You can also play the grind game. If your opponent's hand is too huge, you can just use Alice and Beatrix to wear down your opponent's hand and then go wham, Lunatech. And they're looking like, oh, my hand, it went bye-bye. So, but that's a deck. I've been enjoying the deck so far. I love it to death. I love it to bits. Alice is probably my favorite non-Narukami card in the game. And that's saying a lot that I love this card more than other Narukami cards. And yeah, so this is Team Ubermensch signing out. Try my deck, y'all.